you will see the spicule, which is boot-shaped. This is side view, so isa rin yung makitaan. Pero if front view na siya, there's two of them, they are still boot-shaped. Mga na ang defining characteristic niya. Now, because they are found in the bronchi, if the usually clinical signs do not manifest until there's so many of them. So, severity of injury is highly dependent on worm burden. So, the more worms, the more likely makakause clinical signs. So, if they do accumulate in the respiratory passages, if naganda sila, they can cause obstruction, so it will make breathing difficult, or the animal cannot breathe at all. So, difficulty in breathing is known as dyspnea. Asphyxia would be not being able to breathe at all. In some cases, because your alveoli is not receiving enough air, it's not filling up with air. So, kung saan may tawag sa balloon na walay hangin, di ba? Pag collapse siya, buyos siya. So, imagine all of your alveoli are balloons and wala na yung na air. Either it's might be due to the lack of air, oxygen coming in, or the inflammation that is happening sa inyong bronchial tree. So, tanan ninyong alveoli mo, collapse. And that would lead into atelectasis. And in most cases, if dili ra siya mo collapse, it can also rupture due to the inflammation. Then the rupturing of alveoli would leak out ang mga blood and fluids sa inyong thoracic cavity, causing emphysema. Mura siya naitubig, ganun kay tubig in yung thoracic cavity, and it's crushing your lungs. That's basically emphysema. Now, all of these are not specific to Dictyocaulus. A lot of diseases can cause atelectasis, a lot of diseases can cause emphysema. But when this happens along with necropsy, makita ninyo ang worms. Paano na din ninyo nga it's related to the presence of these worms. Okay, there are many species of Dictyocaulidae, Rally, Apose, but the three that I highlight here is D. filaria, which are in small ruminants, plus cattle, camel, D. viviparus, which are in large ruminants, including deer and camel, then Arnfieldi for your horse. So, bronchi na gina siya, pero if manakhan sila, they can go upwards to trachea or go downwards to bronchioles. This is their L1. So, mao niya ninyong makitaan sa microscope. Although they are only clear during high power. Low power, makita ninyo nga, larva. Lagi larva. You need to look closely in high power to actually see structures. Now, one thing to note is one thing when you're identifying larva is through the tail. Pero yung tail medyo simple naman, it's just a bluntly pointed tail. But for Dictyocaulus, I would rather look at the body. So you can see these dark granules. Those are all contents of their intestine. If you find them inside the egg, and timing ninyo na naman siya sa egg, you will still see the worm with dark granules sa iyang intestine. Or if nito din yung microscope, maka-close up mo sa head end, then you would see a small protruding mouth. But I think pala na po kanina is enough because this is really clear. This is clearer than yun siya. Okay, so regardless of species, mamara yung life cycle, all of them are shed in feces because of the action of ruminants and equines. They don't always spit out their sputum. If makakuha mo sample sa ilang sputum, you might see the egg. But they don't always spit out their sputum, they usually swallow it. So therefore, the larva will hatch in the intestine and is passed out in feces. So either kanin yung makitaan, so you can see dark granules in happen, or more likely this one if fecal sample. If sputal sample kanin. So in either case, they hatch into your free-living L1, and then free-living L1, free-living L2. Then L3 is your infectious stage. Now, they are usually found in herbage, but unlike si Emompus contortus, diba, nakakita naman sa picture sa L3 ni Emompus, crawling up the blades of grass that is found in dewdrops. So it means that their L3 is very active and mobile. It's strong, ilang L3. But in L3 of Dictyocaulus, they're actually quite weak. They cannot climb up these blades of grass very well. So they tend to stick at the bottom, which means ang chances that they will be consumed by a host is lower than that if they were host. So what they do in order to reach the top of the blades of grass or be able to spread out to the rest of the pasture is they take advantage of a fungus that is very common in the environment. It's ubiquitous or common in the environment. So we call that fungus Pilobolus. Not necessarily bawal mo yun si Pilobolus because I think more than one type of fungus can also work. But this tends to come out in the board exam or different questions like which of the following takes advantage of ubiquitous fungi in order to spread out into the pasture niya na. So they don't necessarily spell out kung saan na siya fungus. Basta they take advantage of a fungus. So what they do is medyo gamay man siya nga fungus na sa near the roots area. They will climb up the fungus, kaya kaya nila. Then they will wait for the fungus to spore. So, di ba, ang fungus, kung spore siya, magiging powder na mo, fly off in the wind. So, that's the way fungus is spread out in the environment. They are small enough to hitch a ride on those fungal spores. So, pag spore ulit, na dahil mo, abot na siya sa top of the blades of grass. And even spread out in the environment. So, which actually makes it really difficult to control. Mga na nakalisap monosinus naman siya. So, they're found in the environment, you have to do rotational grazing, burning of pastures, but it's still difficult for them to control if they will spread out na siya. So they already reached the top of the grass. They can now be consumed by your host. Then it enters the small intestine. It sheets because it was wearing the cuticle of the human. Now, one thing you might notice sa mga lungworms nato is before they reach the lungs, their favorite location or their favorite route is through the lymphatics. So after the small intestine, they penetrate the wall and enter the mesenteric lymph nodes. So mesenteric lymph nodes are those, if anatomy mo, necropsy mo, dissect mo, kapatay mo sa mesentery around the intestine, yung mga butoy-butoy, those are all lymph nodes. There's so many of them in the intestine. So they all go there so that they can become L4 in these lymph nodes. Later, they can travel through the lymphatic vessels to reach your lungs. So they stay in the lung parenchyma itself, then they go to the bronchioles, then they go up the bronchi, and then they mature there, and that cycle repeats. Now get yung pattern: small intestine, mesenteric lymph nodes, lymphatic vessels, lungs, and then bronchial venous. Okay, this is, again, you will notice it in the other lungworms. Okay. So this is what it looks like if you are going to perform post-mortem examination or necropsy. So pag-opening nyo sa lungs, when you're doing necropsy man yun, kailangan nyo i-check. Before you go to the lung itself, you have to check what's inside the trachea, then bronchi, and then lungs na tayo check. So you can see in the parts of the lumen of the bronchial tree, you can see these whitish colored worms or automatic, masagikan sa ruminant or sa pores with puti, and na siya sa bronchi or trachea or bronchioles, automatic you answer the clouds. If dagat kayo sila, imagine na mag-ball up na sila nila sa inyong bronchial. So please do that. This is another, this is still the same, but it can cause inflammation of the linings, but clinical signs only manifest taas na. Okay. Now, this is what the lungs will look like because of their presence. So, if you've seen what a normal lung looks like, it's usually relatively healthy lung. It's usually pink, diba? When you see areas of purple or very dark reddish purple, it's usually a sign of congestion. So, kung sa pato pa, congestion is when there is no venous return, bali na block ang blood vessels. So, venous return, bali diling kagawas ang deoxygenated blood. So deoxygenated blood accumulates in tissue, and deoxygenated blood, wala oxygen, so the tissue is not receiving proper oxygenation. So deoxygenated blood is also purplish hue. So mo ng purple with ang tissue. So that's congestion. Okay. So next family, Metastrongyllidae, with only one genera of importance, it's Metastrongylus. And at this point, Heteroxenous. Heteroxenous. Okay, these are also white, slender and white worms found in the bronchi and bronchioles, but this time is swine. So for Dictyocaulus, it's ruminant and equine. White worms in the bronchi of pigs would be Metastrongylus. But unlike your Dictyocaulus, the Dictyocaulus man, you're more likely going to see a hatch L1, diba, in feces. But in Metastrongylus, you're more likely going to see the egg containing the larva. Medyo dugay yung hatch si Metastrongylus. They usually hatch when they leave the body of the host na. So, sa environment. Unlike Dictyocaulus, hatch siya sa sugod sa host. So, you are more likely going to find the larvated eggs. If you find the L1 in feces, it is accidental. Bali ni hatch na siya, dili kayo fresh out. Okay. This is the adult. Of course, the female is not included here. Longer din sila. If you look at the posterior end, this is a male because of the very long spicule, ang copulatory bursa na nice swollen tips. But I would rather look at the anterior end kay makita very prominent trilobe lips. They actually have a total of 6 lips. Trilobe and a pair siya. But because this is one half lang sa body, the side view, you can see 3 lips only. That's a total of 6 lips. So they are very dependent on severity of infection is highly dependent on worm burden. So if dagan kayo worms, they don't have a problem. But most of the time, healthy infected pigs will not show clinical signs. So ending, if you do not have proper biosecurity or quarantining, you don't give preventatives to pigs, regardless if infected sila or not, you can introduce this into the farm because the pigs that we introduce do not show clinical signs. One importante, i-worm ninyo ang pigs even though they don't show signs of infection. Okay, so IH niya are earthworms. And this is the life cycle. So you can see that it looks like a strong-bile egg or larvated lang siya. Thicker shell niya. It's shed in feces again because the eggs are swallowed. L1, L2 is freely bathed, and L2 is ingested by earthworms, where it becomes L3. That's why it's an intermediate host. Now, because your pigs likes to forage, makakawin din na sila earthworm, din na sila earthworm. So that's how infection occurs. But what if the earthworm died before it was eaten? So upon the death of an earthworm, it releases L3 into the environment. So makasurvive si L3 sa environment for up to 2 weeks only because at this point, wala na siya katong cuticle ni L2. So it is more susceptible to desiccation from the environment. But 2 weeks, isog gihapon 2 weeks biya. But compared to L1 and L2 that can survive for months, dali lagi siya. But in either case, if L3 is ingested at the small intestine, same thing, penetrates the wall of the intestine and enters the mesenteric lymph nodes. Go to lymphatic vessels, reaches the lungs, then go to bronchioles, then go to bronchi, cycle release. All kidney, may kidney kami si mesenteric lymph nodes. Okay, so this is a nodule containing Metastrongylus. If you notice a life cycle, if lungs, I'm talking about the lung tissue, the lung parenchyma. Bronchioles, branches na of the bronchial tree. So the nodules that you see here, they're in the tissues itself, diba? So if you open this nodule, you are more likely going to see the L4. L5 and adult are found in the respiratory passages. Here's more. This is the whitish colored worms that are found in the bronchial tree in pigs. So ruminant, Dictyocaulus, equine, Dictyocaulus, pigs, Metastrongylus. Basta white color. Next, Protostrongyllidae. Kani i-highlight na ko na naglahit na yung color. They are found in the respiratory passages of ungulates, so any hoofed animal, including your pigs, equine, and ruminant. Hoofed man. But the color of the worm is different. It's now reddish brown or red. So if you open up a pig and you see white worms, you call it Metastrongylus. But if you see red worms, then that is either one of these, depending on species. Okay. So they are also heteroxylous, IH required, but the IH are snails or gastropods. Snails and slugs. Okay. The eggs are larviparous. The eggs are larvated when laid, but by the time they are passed out in feces, hatch na, so you will identify the larva. So we have 3 species, 3 genera: Protostrongylus, Moelurius, Cystocaulus. Rufescens means red, your color. Nigrescens is dark, so dark red and kanibigay ko siya. Okay, so I will not show you the adults because the adults are just long, slender. They look like Metastrongylus. They even have the trilobe lips, but are red in color. So these are the L1. These are the ones that you're going to find in Ficalicis, the larva. So you identify them by their tail. Again, maklaro lang siya in high power grade. May gain siya. In high power objective. In low power, you can tell it's a larva. High power, para maklaro. And sometimes, because they're so transparent, you might not be able to properly see the tail. So you add a stain. The stain is called Lugol's iodine. So it gives it a brown color. But the problem is, pag the moment you put the stain, undan na siya maka-kill man, mamatay man sila sa stains. So you can appreciate it without the stain. Mulilong siya the moment you put the stain. Okay, so we have Protostrongylus. All of them require snails or slugs, basta gastropods. All of them are found in your ruminants, including your deer. So Protostrongylus rufescens is identified by the tail, which is pointed and undulating. So pointed ang tip. Unlike kay Ixocarus medyo blunt, kaya ay pointed. And undulating meaning it's waving. There is a picture, there is a waving straight mo siya. Pero it's still pointed. By the way, wala ni sa inyong SAS kaning mga tails because I forgot to include it when I made the SAS. So, muna I included it na lang in our PowerPoint. Okay. For Muellerius, you can still see that it's pointed and undulating, but it will have a small dorsal spine. In Cystocaulus, dili siya wavy ha. It's actually 2 parts. It's really bent. It's really bent. Maskin straight ang worm bent. They will have a dorsal spine and 2 smaller spines, but the 2 small spines would be difficult to see under the microscope. So regardless of the genus, basta Protostrongyllidae, they are shed in feces as your larval stage 1. Free-living, larval stage 1, larval stage 2 also free-living. They then find a snail, penetrate it, and then finish their L3 stage in your snail. Then the snail is accidentally ingested by a ruminant. So one question is, does ruminants eat snails? No. But I don't want to give the exact species or the genus of the snail anymore because they're not like flukes na very specific sila sa snails. This one, as long as it's a very small land snail, small terrestrial snails na niya gusto. They're small enough that they can be accidentally ingested by ruminants. Normally, a ruminant will not eat a large snail. So any snail, as long as it's small and found in the land terrestrial. So if they're accidentally ingested, same thing. Abuchos sa small intestine, penetrates walls, enter the mesenteric lymph nodes, travel the lymphatic veins, vessels, enter the lungs, enter the bronchioles, enter the bronchi, cycle repeats. But if the animal happens to be pregnant, they can also go through a prenatal or transplacental transmission. It's rare, but it happens. The reason why is because naaman sa lymphatic veins ang inyong umbilical cord. So it's not just blood vessels, it's also lymphatics. It can travel through the umbilical cord, and your umbilicus man yun, well, naapamamigin kaya connected na siya sa inyong liver. Ang liver man ang filter sa blood sa ikan sa mother. So the first thing that will be infected will be the liver, followed by the lungs. It will then travel to the lungs. months. But it will not mature until the animal is born. So they're not mature. So it's possible for young animals to already be infected. So this is what they would look like under in necropsy. So definitely red with ilang color, unlike your Dictyocalus and Metastrophilos, which would be white in color. Okay, next family, Philaroididae. This time, this is found in the respiratory system and pulmonary artery of mammals, more specifically carnivorous mammals. Carnivorous and omnivorous mammals. They are still bursate worms even though their bursa is absent. Sa ngalan ng mga strongyles sila. And then they depending on your species, they are either monoxenous or heteroxenous, mostly heteroxenous, requiring gastropods. Also take note, we have our first genus that has L1 as their infectious stage. Si Oslerus, old name Philaroides. Mo yung first na itong L1. Naapa, next meeting na siya. Pero gamay lang ito sila, mo ito or L1. Okay, first na itong L1. Also, because the L1 is already considered infective sa ilaha, they do not require an intermediate dose anymore. Yung sa paman ang i-develop, the L1 is already infectious. So this is the one that is monoxenous. The rest would be heteroxenous. The rest would require an IH. So same thing, you identify them, you diagnose them by detection of identifying and detecting the L1. So I will just show you the L1. So this is Philaroides or Oslerus osleri. I'm still stuck sa old name niya. Kaya moment dito sa time na ito. Oslerus osleri na yung name. Dali na kayo memorize. This is Ailurus strongylos obstrusus, the lungworm of cats or feline lungworm. This is not common but reported in the Philippines. Siya. And then Angiostrongylus vasorum is called the French heartworm of dogs. This is different from canine heartworm, which is Lilofilaria imitis. Hindi siya. Kaya ang redirection site man ang nakadetermine. In Angiostrongylus, the redirection site is the pulmonary artery. Asa man ang site sa heart ng pulmonary artery? Left or right? Left. Left side ang pulmonary artery, padulungan sa lungs. Padulungan siya sa lungs. On the right side would be the vena cava, the right ventricle, the right atrium. Lilofilaria imitis, the common canine heartworm, is found all at the right side of the heart. The left side of the heart is your Angiostrongylus vasorum. Okay, so kani walay IH, no IH. Ano mo ang hint na kung na siya sa left side because ang pulmonary artery is towards the lungs, so left L lungs. Ano ang hint? So next, asa na po? So tail, how do we identify them? We look at the tail. Medyo weird ang tail. Kani siya, pointed and wavy, kind of similar to your, what's that class? Si ano? Protostrongylos. But of course, this is found in a dog. So if you see this tail in the dog, then it's Oslerus. If you see it in ruminants, then it's Protostrongylos. Ailurus strongylos is the one that I can't forget. Siya ang medyo unusual tail. This is not wavy, this is ink, na indentation. Na siya indentation. Ako nga indentation. And then we have Angiostrongylus, which is wavy. Oh, na wavy. Okay. Angiostrongylus is more in dogs. Ailurus strongylos is more in cats. So we'll start with the Oslerus osleri because this is the one that doesn't require an IH, and this is the one with L1 as infectious stage. So you are more likely going to see this in feces, but you can't get the sample of the sputum. The eggs, they already hatch in the trachea area, so in sputum they are more likely going to come out as larvae already. And this is why it's so easy for this to spread around in dog populations. Lalo na sa mga actions sa mga iro, either ilapon nila ang baba sa ilang kauban or ang anus nila. So that's how it's so easy to spread. In either case, if it's the L1 is ingested by another dog, it reaches the small intestine, then it penetrates the wall, they stay for a bit in the lymph nodes and then go in the lymphatic vessels, go to the lungs, go up here. Their predilection site is trachea and bronchi, but their favorite place is right in between. We call it the tracheal bifurcation. It's at that point where the trachea splits into two. They're ang favorite. And they cause the formation of large nodules, warts and nodules on that area. Those nodules can get so big or many, taga-nakay siya, that they can block the airway. And you can tell it's due to Oslerus, although there's a lot of diseases that can cause nodules. Pwede may cancer, but makakause na, diba? A lot of diseases can cause nodules in the tracheal bifurcation. But you can tell if it's caused by Oslerus and eye worms. Eh, klaro kayo ang worms niya na nasa sulat. You can see the worms on the surface. Ano siya, the poop it really makes it difficult for the animal to breathe. Here is another one during endoscopy. So, nagputang camera sa trachea, makita niyo mga worms. Some of them will move within the tissues. And this is a histopath. Mga histo. This is a histopath of the trachea. You can tell it's a trachea because of the cartilaginous ring. Cartilage ring mani. Only siya, this is fibrous tissue, and everything here, everything you see here are all worms. Slice lang sila kayo. Anaan biya na sa histo, microtome. Slice in very thin strips. Putol lang kita sila. Those are all the worms inside it. So, if you see this necropsy, then pathognomonic na siya. The presence of nodules filled with worms in the tracheal bifurcation is pathognomonic. For Ailurus triangulus abstrusus, the feline lungworm, feline lungworm, they are either shed in sputum or feces as the L1. They hatch to L2. Ako lang iklaro nga, these are still oviparous. They still lay eggs. Kay basin man yung assume mo na wala na yung egg, wala siya sa life cycle. They still lay eggs, but the eggs will just hatch inside the respiratory tract. Ako man, I will tell you if larviparous siya or not. I will tell you if it's larviparous or not. Okay. L1 and L2 are free living, then L2 penetrates a snail and becomes L3. Now the thing is, have you ever seen a cat eat snail? It's quite rare for them to eat snail because the mucus that they produce is not. So the chances of Ailurus triangulus being passed from cat to cat would be very low because they don't like to eat snail. So they have parademic host to bridge the gap. So the parademic host would be definitely animals na kami sa inyo, ha? Cats. Okay, so they serve as L3. In either case, if the snail or the parademic host are ingested, L3 enters the intestines or stomach, penetrates the lymphatic lymph nodes around it, enter lymphatic vessels, reaches the lung parenchyma. Your Ailurus triangulus, ang predilection site niya is really the lungs. Really the lungs is the predilection site. They may end up in the bronchial tree, but their favorite place is the lung parenchyma. Their eggs, the eggs are pushed out of the body through the bronchial tree para ma-pass out in the sputum or feces. Okay. This is the lungs of a cat with feline lungworm. So, dili kayo ma-appreciate dili. You best appreciate it if you actually see the lungs, feel the lungs, right? Because if you touch the surface, it will be very bumpy. Kahit pag yun. Those are the bumps because remember, the adults are found in the tissue itself. Those bumps may fill up, is your body trying to contain them, so mga nodules and siya. Now, if mamatay ang worms sa sulod, they will, of course, there will be necrosis in that area. So if you cut up the lung, there might be cheesy exudate or caseous necrosis. That's the type of necrosis that tends to happen sa lungs. Mura siyang cheese, na caseous ang tawag. Now, mas worse siya kapag ito yung patho. The picture pa lang yung mga cheese na sa sulod. Okay. So if you are going to, if you see this does not always indicate hydrostracheisis. So, dili siya pathognomonic. Kaya a lot of diseases can cause the same appearance. So, this can be due to tuberculosis. Kaya pwede man sa mag-ana ang tuberculosis. This could be pneumonia. So, it's not very specific. But if you find this diagnosis along with finding the worms or seeing the larva in your fecalis, then definitely it's related na siya. Kani, patay naman ang hearing, kani pag-uwi pa hearing. So, not extreme mo. So, this is a normal lungs. Again, the lungs are mainly filled up with sacs of air. So, you will see mostly black or radial translucent siya. Black siya. Really, you can see this white area of opacity, radial opacity ang tawag basta ng puti. Now, any soft tissue that becomes inflamed, has areas of inflammation, they become more radial opaque, they become more white under the X in a radiograph. Muna, makita na din mo, puti-puti. Again, this is not indicative of hydrostracheitis. A lot of diseases in the lungs can cause the same problem. This actually looks like pneumonia, ganit. But again, if you combine it with fecalis, ano na yung makonfirm na tayo siya. This one is the French heartworm of dogs, si Angiostrongylus fasolum. Nasa yung name, angio means circulation, blood vessel. Fasolum is vein. So now sa yung name na nasa, makitaan siya yung blood vessel. Particularly the pulmonary artery. The largest artery that is in your heart. So, the eggs are still shed in feces. How? Namatay siya sa heart. Because the pulmonary artery is the one that delivers blood from the heart to the lungs. So, if now ang worm there has pulmonary artery, panang eggs niya, ang direction is towards the lungs. Madala naman siya sa blood. Towards the lungs, so the eggs will find their way out through the bronchial tree and then pass out in the trachea. So the eggs are found in feces, not the eggs. The larva is already hatched naman. So larva as L1 and L2 free living, penetrate snail. Now, also just like cats, dogs do not bite the base of snail. So it is high chance na sila ay paratenic host. Wala lang na-discover kung is class na paratenic host. Ako, theory lang na ako na ba same rodents, lizards, may kanong na sa ilo. But I've also seen dogs that would eat snails, so medyo unknown lang siya at this point. In either case, if they are ingested by the dog, same thing. Agi siya sa stomach or small intestine, goes to mesenteric lymph nodes, goes to the liver. Kanila kang naka-different silang life cycle. Unlike the other lungworms, diretso sila sa lungs. But the problem is, this does not want to go to the lungs. They want to go to the heart. So, muagi na lang, the best way to reach the heart is through the circulatory system. But nag-start naman siya sa lymphatics. So the first place it will go is the liver. And the liver is highly vascular. Dira na tayo siyang hitch going to the heart. So they go via the venous circulation back into the heart. So cranial vena cava, right atrium, right ventricle, and going to the left side of the heart, crossing the pulmonary artery. The adults stay here. Sila ang adults. Their eggs pagayon sa lungs na tayo. So this is what it would look like if you open up the heart. Again, if you want to look for them, you go at the right side. You go at the pulmonary artery. At kung sa vena cava, kung sa right side, makakita mo heartworm, canine heartworm, si Dirophilaria epipis. You go to the pulmonary artery, you will find them. They have a barber's fold appearance, at least the females. But then again, you don't call this Haemonchus contortus. Okay, nakitaan siya sa heart, nakitaan pag sa dog, so it should be Angiostrongylus. At the same time, you do not call those that are found in the abomasum of cattle as Angiostrongylus. You call them Haemonchus. So very specific naman siya. Okay, this is mura direct effect niya on the lungs, this lungs man. So because they block they cause obstruction in the pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery is supposed to send blood to the lungs. So some parts of the lungs will not receive proper blood flow. So muna mamatay siya in areas. There could go actually na may granulomas ay puti. Bumps ni siya. Granulomas will form because remember the eggs, they will go towards the lungs. So kung ba na eggs mabilin sa tissue, so they will form a granuloma. Another X-ray. This is the normal one. This is the abnormal one. So normal, ako lang i-highlight really kung sa mga structures ng and basta magbuon mo o radiography, wala mo nag-recall sa inyong anatomy. Recall yun sa anatomy because some structures cannot be seen. You have to imagine it based on certain areas. So the most common, the most obvious thing that you would see in a chest X-ray of dogs would be the heart. Maga man siya na organ. So you can see this is the right ventricle, this is the left ventricle. So from the right ventricle, it connects to the pulmonary artery. This one will go towards the lungs. Now an artery is hollow, too big and big. Blood there will flow there. Blood does not reflect in an X-ray. So hollow na siya. Then maybe at the border you will see white because it's a soft tissue. So only ang pulmonary artery. Now if you compare it here, what's the first thing ma-notice niyo sa pulmonary artery? Mura siya, dili na hollow, no? Because this is inflamed tissue. Remember, inflamed tissue whitens sa radiograph. So it means either na ay blockade dito or the walls of the artery has become so thick due to inflammation and fibrosis that they now block or nigamay ang lumen sa inyong artery. So it makes blood flow towards the lungs faster kaya man saka ang blood pressure pag gamay ang lumen or gamay ra ang flow niya. Then you can also see in these areas kaning gina-point nila na medyo darker ang white niya, darker white. Medyo baga ang white niya nga those are nodules that they can form. They also form formation nodules. So imagine na lang yung nodule sa inyong pulmonary artery. It will further block blood flow towards the lungs. Okay, so we're talking about how to diagnose your larva. While it is possible for you na makakita mo larva through direct fecal smear or even through flotation technique, pwede man yun. But there's a better way for you to collect and culture the larva para ma-check mo. We call that diagnostic method as the Bayerman technique or Bayerman method. I would want to perform this, guys, this with you, but this technique requires 24 hours. Wala tayo 24 hours para sa lab man. So ako na lang ipakita sa inyo ang concept. It would have been nice to show sa inyo. This technique is not only for vet med and human med. It's also done even in kanang mga research lang about nematodes, even free living ones. Instead of feces ang gamito, they use soil to collect nematodes. So the concept is the same. So it's based, the principle is to isolate and collect your larva, whether they are already hatched or already present in the feces. So what you need here, we do have the materials na pwede kita mag-Bayerman technique if we want. Maybe sa inyo ay na feature ganang feces related to larval culture, so nakalagay na gamit sa atuan. So all you need is a lab-grade stand, a funnel, of course lab-grade yung dapat ang funnel, but pwede na ordinary funnel, then rubber tubing, and then clamp. Ay rubber tubing and clamp na connect. At the top, you can see here na wire, shape of wire para fit sa funnel. Wala na stick. So you get the fecal sample, you wrap it in gauze, and then you put it over here sa kaning stage delay or ibitay ani. Then you fill it up with tap or mineral water, not distilled, because you're trying to make sure that the larva is alive man. So if naay minerals of water, then they have food source. So tap water or mineral water, you fill it up, of course, na may rubber tube. So plan niya siya water, put fill it up until you would submerge the fecal sample. Submerge na. Di man na mo drain, naka-clamp man eh. So you leave it for 24 hours. And the principle behind that is because if 9 eggs or larvae sa fecal sample, the eggs will hatch or the larva that is already there will leave the fecal sample because they're free living. And by gravity, all of them will go down at the bottom of the merging beam. Nana sila tanan nila within 24 hours. Kasi sedimentation yun. But for larva. So after 24 hours, you're going to collect the sample at the bottom of the tube. That's why na-unclamp, yun lang i-unclamp and collect the fluid at the bottom. So after that, you then go through the same method as sedimentation. You let it stand, but better was the rate to be centrifuge. Because heavier man ang inyong larva, when you centrifuge it, they will all settle at the bottom. So after centrifugation, you get rid of the fluid at the top, collect the sediment, check it under the microscope, cover slip, you can put Lugol's iodine na stain, and then check it, paano na din yung identify. Daghan pag yun, culture pag yun ninyo siya. So when I say larval culture, you can actually let it breed until reach an L3. So na yung mga certain experiments where they want to collect the L3 and identify the L3. So na yung mga studies. Okay. So di nato ni mabuhat. But Gaussian boards, this has been repeated in the boards, not always, but they come back and forth as a question. And what would be a diagnostic method for you to collect angiostrongylos or mga lungworms to specify niya? So your answer should be Baerman. Former students would call it coffee drip technique. Mura ka dyan coffee drip, pero it's called Baerman method. Okay, we're now in the next order. We're now in order Spirulida. At this point, kalimtan sa nato na dilis nga ang mga bursate worms and ang mga strongyl eggs. Because these are no longer Strongylida, therefore they do not have a copulatory bursa anymore. Okay. Also take note, their esophagus type is musculoglandular, which is the anterior part of the esophagus has a buccal capsule, and then the rest would be more glandular, so they produce certain chemicals. They do not have a bursa, but they do have a caudal alley. So muna siya bursa ka na, it's called a caudal alley. All of them are heteroxynous, require an IH. IH are always arthropods. And eggs are weird. Ayun, kalimti ang strongyl egg, alin na. Ano yung strongyl egg, di ba? Wala kayo ani. And then it's always larvated. Always larvated. And they're also a bit smaller than a strongyl egg. So the strongyl egg, ilahan na. Okay. Number 1. Okay, number 1. When a DH accidentally ingests the infectious stage of a lungworm, the L3 in the small intestine has to first enter the bladder before it can jump to the system. 22. Answer is mesenteric lymph nodes. Those ones are cranial mesenteric artery. Mauna kay Strongylus vulgaris. Okay. Artery is different from lymph nodes. The reason why they're called mesenteric is because they're found in the mesenteries. So, mesenteric lymph nodes. Ganun na yung ba nakikita ko na shading last name. Okay. Again, ang mesenteric artery is where Strongylus vulgaris ang larva nito. Lymph nodes, di ang kailangan ng worms. The mesenteric part is only because the lymph nodes are found in the mesenteries. Number 2. Number 2, during necropsy, the nodules containing Phleroides osleri L5 in adults tend to be found in what specific structure of the canine age? Specific structure. With drawings, please. With drawing. Madaling drawing.
Saktos ready?
So tracheal bifurcation sila. In fact, I prefer na example sa exam gawas siya. Instead of answering trachea or bronchi, I would prefer you answer tracheal bifurcation. Di ra man gid sila magsugod. If managhan sila, maato sila sa trachea or sa bronchi. Pero they always start in A. Okay, next family is first family of families. First family of order Spirurida is Spiruridae. So, rin siya, ang common, most of them are commonly known as the equine stomach worms because they are found in the equine stomach and worms po sila. So, equine stomach worms. But there is one member who is not an equine stomach worm. It's found in fowls, which is Harvardia gaminana, minor. They are all heterocynous, and their IH are Musidae flies like Musca spp, the house fly and face fly, as well as Tomopsis calcitrans, which is your stable fly. All their eggs are elongated and larvated late. So, muna si Haplonema. Haplonemayasis. Sa inyo may entong pala. Entong pala na siya. So, you can even see it here. Wala lang sa entong pictures. We have Musca and Tomopsis calcitrans. The one with the dots sa iyang abdomen. So, all the hosts are equine, so it could be the domestic, the wild, and the donkeys. And their predilection site is the stomach. Now, the worm itself, while in the stomach, they are actually not as pathogenic, or they don't necessarily kill. They're pathogenic, they actually, where they bite the stomach, they cause a large nodule form. Now, because the stomach of an equine is very large, as long as it's in a place in the stomach na medyo okay lang, madakang space, the nodule will not cause a problem. It only becomes problematic if it's near the esophagus opening or the pyloric opening. Dira na din siya magka-problem. Okay, mag-block na niya ang food passage. Okay, so we have two member species of Haplonema. So if you have a copy of my old PowerPoint, nabalina na po ang ilahang species. So, Habronema macus is the one with the bottle, at the top is Habronema muscae. And to tell them apart, see, macus would have more teeth in its buccal cavity. Habronema muscae would have less teeth. But the other way is to look for the males. The males of Habronema muscae would have one of the spicules is very long, but if macus, the spicules are quite short. Okay. Basta i-flip lang na siya. Then, kani siya, Draschia megastoma is still a member of Habronema, bali na-change lang siya ang genus. So, formerly Habronema megastoma na siya. And the reason why it was called Habronema megastoma is if you just look at the buccal cavity. Mega, large, stoma, mouth. Funnel shape. Compared to Habronema maus, which is formerly Habronema microstoma. Smaller ang iyahang Now, kanisha was the one that is a lot more common and a lot more pathogenic kay mas dako daw ang iyahang nodule na i-form. Alam nga, dako man siya bakta. So, dako ganyan. So, this one is carried by Musca domestica, but it's reported as well by Stomoxis. Habronema muscae is more likely carried by Musca. Habronema maus is more likely carried by Stomoxis. But, pwede kaya kung sila ma-carry. Pwede rin. Hindi siya pupili, basta muscae. Okay, let's cycle. Ano yung egg? Oh, diba? Bugas. Stop ruining food. Bugas. Kanya, naay, garbus. They're also quite small. Smaller than a strong egg. Then, it hatches into free-living L1, which is then going to be ingested by the fly. But L1 is a larva. Then ang mouth parts ni fly, the adult fly, is either sponging or piercing. Dili makasya si L1 sa ilang mouth, sa ilang proboscis. So L1 has to be consumed by the maggot, the larva of the fly. So makaon ni maggot ang L1, I don't want to call it larva anymore, magkano sa ganito. Maggot ni L1, makaon ni maggot ang L1, the L1 develops into L3 inside the maggot. But when the maggot transforms into your adult fly, madala niya po niya ang L3. Now, there are 3 modes of infection. Only 2 of those modes of infection would finish the cycle. One of them didn't maka-finish the cycle, but it's also the one that is more problematic. So, ang first 2 cycles which will complete the life cycle, the first 2 modes of infection is, number 1, the fly deposits the L3 in the nose or the lips. Because pag naimo ng adult ang fly, L3 will go to the proboscis. So when it lands on the mouth of your horse, may mga food debris, saliva, attracted si fly ana, so it will, when it feeds, ma-deposit niya ang larva sa lips. And if your horse will lick its lips, wala siya ma-infect, swallow niya. The other is when the fly is eaten. Weird sense of horse kaon niya ang langaw. Pero it happens accidentally man. Nakaon niya ang langaw. So, dala naman yung fly ang L3, makaon niya. Mapas na. The last one is the one that doesn't complete its cycle. So, the fly deposits L3 in skin wounds. So, maka-timing. Maybe there is a small wound here, a small wound in the face and the legs and the body. Of course, that will attract flies. They will feed on the wound and then they deposit the larva in the wound. The parasite is non-migratory. Hindi siya ga-migrate. In fact, if we complete the cycle, maswallow siya, diretso na siya sa stomach. Ano mo, laang pa rin siya. But the L3 is non-migratory, so when it's deposited on skin, di siya kasabot nga na siya dili. So it will just keep on crawling around in the skin. Of course, it causes trauma, it causes ulceration to form, and that ulcer can get bigger and bigger and bigger until the body gets rid of the larva. Pero you're left with a wound na pwede mag-secondary bacterial infection. That, pag Stomoxis calcitrans ang nagdala, Biter-Beas stenosis calcitrans. So when they feed on blood, they deposit the L3, so it's already in the skin as well. So for those na na-complete ang cycle, they will form a nodule. Their eggs will be shed in feces ng leg. So this is cutaneous habronemiasis, also known as summer sores, kaya gusto man ng flies during summer. So summer sores due to L3 being deposited in skin wounds. They like to be near the eye, kasi pag deposit sila din, feed sila sa secretions, ma-deposit sa skin dili, or in wounds, bites, estomoxis, siya. These are usually small, that gets really big over time if it's not treated. They can also, because flies will also feed on the conjunctiva, so pwede po nila ma-deposit sa conjunctiva. They cause granular conjunctivitis. It's called granular if you can feel the night bumps sa surface of the conjunctiva. So it doesn't cause blindness, but those bumps, they can rub against your cornea. So they will cause ulcerations to form. So you can see it here in this eye, blue ang eye, na ulcer sa tunga. Tungkol na sa irritation of having bumps on the conjunctiva. This is in the stomach, so they form a nodule that will contain the worms. And here's a large nodule. It's a knee. 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 Hint. Loud stomach. Gastrophilus. This is the box of gastrophilus. Again, both of them they're pathogenic, but they don't kill. They only kill if this nodule is found in pylorus or esophageal opening. So, they nanon kaagyan. So, pwede hindi sila magdunggan. Pwede sila magdunggan. Isa ka itong description ninyo, alin, or grapes? Okay, next family, Thalassidae. Half of the members of Thalassidae are eyeworms, the other half are stomach worms. Specifically, the eyeworms are Thalassia and Oxyspirura. Thalassia in mammals, Oxyspirura in birds. Spinocerca is found in the esophagus. Gallgallonema, Ascaros, and the rest of them are in the stomach. Kanila kung yapil, ano siya na analisa. Some members are larviparous. If oviparous, their eggs are the barrel shaped and larvated. So, these are the eyeworms. Thalassia is for mammals, Oxyspirura mansoni for birds. Or basta Oxyspirura spp, birds are siya. So, description-wise, we actually have Thalassia naka-slide. So, you would see, you can identify Thalassia because makakita mo lines, striations on its cuticle. Only at the anterior end. If it's eyeworm, Oxyspirura, if you look at the buccal capsule, it's hourglass, or parang naman siya, hourglass. Mura siya goblet. In either case, you will see this type of pharynx and its Oxyspirura. But I think they're very specific naman in terms of location and host. If you find an eyeworm on the surface of chickens or any bird, then that's going to be Oxyspirura. Same with Thalassia. Thalassia is larviparous, so they don't lay eggs, they give birth to L1. But Oxyspirura would be oviparous. In terms of IH, any fly, so Musca or Musca domestica, housefly, Musca autumnalis, spacefly, Phania, which is your dwarf housefly or lesser housefly, smaller here. But take note that even though they're found in the eye, they're not found inside the eye wall. They're found in the surface, sa mucosa. Mucosa sa conjunctiva. So they are found on the conjunctiva, on the dictating membrane of third eyelid, lacrimal ducts, and lacrimal glands. So it means, makakita nga ni, ito na lang yung bira. Bira na ninyo kayo, wala ka siya sa sulod. It's different from Toxocara, which is, nasa sulod, makasulod siya. Pero you can pull them off the surface of the eye. Okay. 3 species of Thalassia: Rhodesi for ruminants, Lacrimalis for horses, and Callipyde for dogs, cats, and humans. Nag-evolve na naman siya sa humans, may matamabukan But for this one, birds are good. We'll start with Thalassia because this is our first Larviparous member. So this is the adult. Galing ko yung life cycle. Mata, I fly. So we have here the adult. The adult is Larviparous, so the female will give birth to L1. The L1's favorite place is over here, the medial canthus, where your lacrimal glands are. So, madala siya sa ears. Yeah. So, because of the irritation of the worm, they can cause excess tear production. Then that will attract your fly. So, the fly will drink your tears. Inulpod niya ang L1. Inside the fly, L1 and L2 develops inside their body. L3 goes to the proboscis. Goes to the, para ready. Nano na siya sa proboscis. Ready na siya. When that fly goes to another dog or another host, nag-drink from the, or landed near the eye, they deposit the L3. L3 immediately develops into L1. L3 develops into L5, adult. Ano na eh? Oras? Dali lang cycle. For later lang sa kanisa. Last, isa ka section is isotangon. Gigamay siya mo talaga ang relation sa pagkaon.
This one lang daw.
So we have T. rhodesi for cattle, lacrimalis for horse. Again, siguro ito ninyo yung bira. Magbira na kita ninyo. Napakalipated. And the humans need. Okay, I have a question. Does Thalassia cause blindness? Yes or no?
Yes. No.
Ani na lang. Does Thalassia directly or indirectly cause blindness? Indirect. No. They don't enter eye. Catch the surface. But they can indirectly cause blindness because when they are there, they cause irritation. Kung constantly ma-irritate yung mga eye, or even their presence, they rub against your cornea, ulcer sa mata, corneal ulcer. If that corneal ulcer does not get treated, lalo na siya, damage ang lens, damage ang eye. Blindness, it rarely happens. Tangtang rami. But even if you remove the adults on the surface, the immature ones are found in the ducts. For Oxyspirura, kani siya noon, malakot ni Oxyspirura. Because they lay eggs, so they don't just lay eggs on the surface of the eye, bago lang sa cockroach. It's not like your fly. So what they do is, your Oxyspirura, the adults really likes this area. They like to be in the lacrimal ducts. And your lacrimal ducts is a duct that connects this part to your oral cavity. Mga nakikilak mo mag-base ninyo yung tears. Because they also drain in your oral cavity. Actually, paano siya? Padulong sa nasal cavity din, padulong din sa oral cavity. So, whenever the adults lay eggs, the eggs will be drained down with tears in the oral cavity. Then, maswallow si egg, pass out in feces as this one. And then, si cockroach, makaon sa egg. Kaon tayo si cockroach. Inside the cockroach, L1 becomes L3. Then, of course, the chicken eats the cockroach. Now, kung kanon si cockroach, it goes to the stomach. Diba? So, yun sa pag-abot sa worm sa eye na food. So, when it reached in the stomach, digest man si cockroach, releasing L3. L3 climbs up the stomach wall, stomach linings, esophageal linings. Agian na po niya itong oral cavity mo goes up the lacrimal ducts and back to the eye. Kung unsay paagi sa egg, dito goes mo po niya agian. Balik na siya dira, and then cycle repeats. So this is Oxyspirura mansoni. Inang quail. Gamay kayo quail ako kayo. Dahil nag-submit ani pero medyo gamay siya tanawon. Gamay siya sa kayo quail na. So that's a lot. So definitely blind siya because of the blockage, but not directly blind. Just remove it. Next, this is my favorite parasite. One of my favorites. Nasa sa top 5. Top 2 siguro na yung favorite sa. Ano, top 1 ni siya, top 2 na po kasi Trichuris. Pero kani siya, Spinosaurus calupine. This is known as the canine esophageal worm. It is not common, but it is found in it has been reported in the Philippines, particularly in strays. Strays na siya nakita. The reason why it's my top 1, my favorite parasite in animals, is because of its pathogenesis. It's capable of causing malignant esophageal fibrosarcoma, a type of cancer of the esophagus. Very quickly pag yun yan ang pagbuhat. Okay, so I'll explain how they cause cancer but they will be found in the esophagus. That's their predilection site, but they can also cause damage to the aorta as well as the stomach. Ano, kay morning esophagus, stomach, ang aorta is right next to them. Pwede ma-damage. They are mainly found in dogs, reported in a few cats, but mainly in dogs. Coprophagous or dung beetle, ang ilang IH, predilection site is the stomach, aorta, and esophagus. Mainly esophagus. I have a friend, a vet, padalahan niya yung nakita from Mindanao po yun. They operated in a dog na ay difficulty in swallowing. Nakita na tumor. A lot of tumors can be caused by different things. Pag open sa tumor, coiled up inside. Iyang i-collect, ipadala niya, LBC niya sa ako. LBC niya sa ako. For your students niya. So hopefully I can bring it. Pakita sa inyo sa lab. Okay. So, life cycle. Because if they're in the esophagus man, so I said they form nodules or granulomas in the esophagus inside adults. The granuloma will have a fistula or muscle where pus can come out, and as well as pus out of eggs. The eggs are swallowed, pass out in feces. They look like this, barrel shape with a larva inside. So the eggs, they are then ingested, they don't hatch, they are ingested by the dung beetle, Coprophagous beetle, which develops into L3. If a dog ingests it, or if makaon siya sa paradelicos, in either case, it will be ingested by the dog. Upon ingestion, na siya sa stomach. Doesn't go down from the stomach anymore. It will go in the stomach. Ako din i-explain yun, yung mga arrows na ganun. Then, L3 penetrates the wall of the stomach and goes to the aorta. Heart man siya, ang iwala. Ani ang aorta. Kasi sa aorta, it crosses the stomach and enters the aorta. And after that, it goes up the aorta and crosses out into the esophagus. So imagine ang damage. Stomach wall is damaged, aorta wall is damaged, esophageal wall is also damaged. Kaya magsigiman siya up, ana-ana siya. And what happens is, at least in the esophagus, at least in the aorta, remember they're crossing a major blood vessel. That is one of the large blood vessels that delivers oxygenated blood to the body, to the system. Naay sulod, nagsulod siya sa wall. The wall will either become thick due to damage, fibrosis, or thin due to damage. Pag baga siya, baga ang environment. Kung na-damage siya, manipis, blood will flow into it, forming a bubble known as your aneurysm. And because they do it several times, dapat kayo aneurysms pwede form. So if that aneurysm pops, pwede na yung matay ang patient. But then, if successful na siya na wala nang matay diretso, it can settle in the esophagus. That's where it matures. So this would be the nodules and granulomas that they form on the esophagus. So imagine what will happen to the dog. Granuloma pa niya, di pa ni cancer. What will happen to what would the clinical signs be?
Dili mo kaon.
Dili siya maka-eat properly. They might regurgitate or vomit. Pwede na malusot. So, chronic weight loss. Kasi it's not getting enough food. Mag-lose weight. If you open it up, you will find reddish colored worms. They're actually quite smaller than it looks. May na siya mangyari na. coil up na yun. Then, this is endoscopy. So you can see the nodule, something's coming out, that's pus, combination of the pus, waste of the parasite as well as the eggs. So it's coming out of a fistula. This is the aorta. Aorta. You can see all of these bumps, those are all aneurysms. And then this is an esophageal fibrosarcoma. Mauna ang cancer. The cancer that Spinocerta causes is either a fibrosarcoma or an osteosarcoma. Kasi nakalagay, fibrous tissue or scar tissue, see, fibrosarcoma. Osteosarcoma is bone. So imagine na a bone growth sa inyong esophagus. Bone is not supposed to grow there. But then again, it's cancer. Well, we believe cancer is strange in a way that continue siyang grow on tissues that are not supposed to have this particular type of tissue. Sa manang pathogenesis, I don't want to go too deep into immunology and pathology, pero ako lang i-explain as best and as simple as I can. So, one of the reasons why cancers can develop is because of chronic inflammation. A lot of reasons, but they should genetic. But usually, some cancers can be acquired because of chronic inflammation. So, the reason why inflammation can become harmful to cells in the end is because whenever you have a tissue that is inflamed, ang mga cells that are part of inflammation, like your macrophages, your white blood cells, they release chemical signals, wherein the purpose of those chemicals is to call other cells, either other white blood cells to fight off infection, or mga fibroblasts or mga fibrocytes to help in healing para scar formation. Now, if normal inflammatory process lang, namatay na ang cause of the inflammation, healing na, okay na. But this is a worm that is very difficult for your body to kill. So, imagine all of your macrophages, your white blood cells. Nanagaling. Sige, patyo na po ni. Let's release chemical signals to call more na soldiers to help us with the fight. And also, pinadamage man ng tissue, kada po mga magtabang sa atuang pag-repair sa tissue. Awal na sila tanan. So, muna na mag-granuloma, kaya nagtawag man sila o cells, fibroblasts to cause scar formation, build scar. Kanya pa, dayon, wala man na ayo, wala man namatay. So, sige pa, send more. They are releasing these chemical signals constantly. And those chemicals are harmful. They eventually become harmful to DNA. So, the more of those chemical signals are being released, and constantly, punta ko ang tissue because hindi na lang sila mag-repair. So, manang nilang i-repair. Hindi na ko naman ang granuloma. They keep on doing that until all the cells are now damaged. And when the DNA is damaged, they either die or they become super duper paspas ang iyang mitosis. Ano na cancer when mitosis becomes very fast. Unusually, abnormally fast until yung cancer is an entire tissue. The cells that are becoming cancerous can either be fibroblasts, so muna na may fibrosarcoma, or the osteoblasts, muna may osteosarcoma. Depende na siya, either A is osteo, B is fibroma. When does it become metastatic? Cancer can spread. Because pwede yun spread, stage 4. All of these are epithelial cells. So epithelium has a basement membrane. When the basement membrane is broken because of the cancer, mato na rin siya sa bloodstream. Travel na rin sa yung body. The cancer spreads in other organs. Metastasis na ito. And fibrosarcoma due to Spinocerta lupi has been reported in the kidneys, the spinal cord, the stomach, the small intestine. Ano na lang na makakatay? Yesterday, someone asked, saan na mukha ito na po?
Wala.
Depende, quality of life. The source of the cancer is the esophagus. You have to remove the source of the cancer, the initial source. But if spread na siya, ano na lang mo, chemo. Ang problema, quality of life. If you remove, how big is the cancer in the esophagus? Takot na kayo. Saan na yung pag-connect sa esophagus? Ay, nabigyan. If it's in the kidney, remove. You might have to consider euthanasia na lang. At that point, depende na sa quality of life. This is why it's so interesting for me. Pag yun na nakaka-interesting sa okay. This happens very quickly. Paspas kayo ang stages na progressive stage 4 spinal cancer sa bones. The concept of this is similar to how granulomas in schistosoma X can also cause cancer. Pero mas dugay lahat. Kaya gagmay man sila, kani kay dagko man ang works. So they make it, the progress of cancer is very quick. Gets that? No, na-explain na ako. May pato na lang. Sige, we'll continue. Other members of Thelazidae, we have stomach worms and the gullet worm. The pig stomach worm, Ascarops strongylina, with its spiral pharynx, screw, spiral pharynx, and Gongylonema pulchrum, the gullet worm, and the impulse. What have description? Impulse. Because of its bumpy cuticle. This one is exclusively found in pigs. This one is found in a lot of hosts, including humans. The predator, tungod yun eh, kaya ikaw taka-crunch, mauna lang. Di ba kita? Anak ka lang, cockroach. And other hosts, dung beetle. Kinsa mo ka, dung beetle. Ayan, ano di ay? Racist. So, if in domestic animals, the predilection site of Gongylonema is the esophagus lumen, but in humans, na siya sa oral cavity, na siya sa oral mucosa. The cause of pathognomonic lesion of Gongylonema is zigzag. Zigzag mucosa. That's actually the word. That's the worm inside it that forms zigzag patterns. Family Aculidae. Remember who's a start of P2 where I talked about cuticular ornamentation or modification known as cordons. Ano ni sila? These are the three members that have cordons in their cuticle. And their only importance is the fact that they have cordons. But they are in fact pathogenic mansan. They are heteroxylous, requiring arthropods as an IH, pero ang nakalilod sa ilang life cycle kay no migratory needs.
Yay, resto na na.
So, nada! Chilus pylura, ano yan, predilection site nila lahi-lahi. But all of them are upper GIP. Gizzard for Chilus pylura, proben and esophagus for dispharynx, esophagus, proben, all tanan upper GIP is Echinoria. And then laylay din silang IH, pero all of them are arthropods. If you notice in Echinoria, copepods ilaha, because copepods are arthropods man, it makes sense because this is found in water and their hosts are aquatic birds. Okay. The cordons of Chilus pylura is kuhak na sila tanan. All of them going down. Dapat ko sa hand gestures. All of them, Chilus pylura is all of them going down. This pharynx is going down, then up, but not all the way. Echinoria is going down, going up, all the way up. Alam mo pag-distinguish niya. Kasi pag ako moving exam, wala mo na, parehas ako moving exam na niyagi, pag ako din yung station 10. Pero kinakit ko ngayon na, well, if it works, why not? So this is Chilus pylura. It's found in the gizzard, so they cause the gizzard cuticle to lift up. So lift up ang cuticle. This is Echinoria uncinata, nag-form of nodules on the predilection site. Next, kanis yung lagot ito. Hindi mo siya makalagot. Hindi siya makalagot. Okay. Sige, Tetrameles is rather This is the, if you think of helminths, if you think of nematodes, you think of a worm, di ba? If you look, the female here is globose. Ayun na lang, there's only one member, it's the Tetrameres americana. This is the female and this is the male. Kaning male is ang white, dili ang kaning babae. The male is white. This is the female. There's still evidence na worm siya, pero ay gamay na bilin. But this is lingit siya. And I remember kapag nag-helminths ko dili, there's one bottle full of Tetrameres americana. Muragit sila, great. Gagmay kayo na piece. Black, pag itong color kayo na, ano naman, preserved naman. Some of them will have a white string attached because it's actually the male na naka-attach. Unfortunately, for some reason, nawala ang bottle. I don't know why. Because when I saw it, nag-helminths ko, nakami sa campus that time. When we transferred here, I don't know if nadala or nawala or natago. I have not seen it. I have been looking for it since I started teaching pa. So I have been looking for wala kids. So sayang kayo, makita-tata. Because even though na Americana sa iyang pangalan, na just the Pilipinas. Okay, so they are found in fowls. Lots of arthropods will serve as its IH, and they are found in the proventriculus. The females are specifically located in the proventricular glands, which is in the walls of the proventriculus. So imagine, isunod siya sa wall, ibulot siya, so there will be bumps on the surface of the proventriculus where if you cut it, you will find the female. The males, however, are found on the surface of the mucosa. Musunod lang siya sa glands if it is going to make you the female. So this is the proventriculus. Bump. If you open that, talagang isang klaro kayo na naisulot. If you open that, nasa Tetrameres is good. Here's more, side view. Tetrameres. So the next time mo kaon ng proven.
Yan ang mayroon mo.
Kaon ng proven.
Yan ang
Kami
mayroon mo.
Kanang gagmay kayo nga.
Wala siyang bato, nagkatungay na sa wall, sa proven. Hala na ka!
Karon lang.
Balik ka to kasi na. Sayang na eh. That was Tetrameres for sure. Recorded of the video na ako. So, muna yun ako na just because it doesn't look like a worm, doesn't mean it's not a worm. Muna mo check. Bato na na susunod sa program. Muna na. Sayang. Isa?
Mamalit yun sa taog ko.
Hospital na sila. I've seen them. Ano ko nabitang size? Wala ba siya? Maragin siya ka ng, wala siya ka ng bato na nakalo sa ano sa bugas. Grabe ang description. Wala siya bato na nakalo sa bugas. The meals are really small. Meals are really small. Sayang. Pangita atong manok. Asa siya na farm at tuwa farm. For sure na anak. Number 3. With 10% na, uy, sige na, kinawala ka ba sa schooling nga? Red din siya?
Red show. Circular. Logo na sa mga club.
Ganun. They're bright red and fresh. Bright red sila and fresh. Number 3. Which among the following does not have an arthropod as its IH? Possible for more than one answer. Possible for more than one answer. Ano mo nalagay sa last step? Balikan ito. Dapat di ay? No.
Ay, pakita ako.
Mayra? Or extend? Extend ko guys. Extend. I know, do cover side. Five, four, three, two, one, up. Kung kulang, wrong. Sobra, wrong. Kung kulang, wrong. Kung sobra, wrong. Nila. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. So the answer here is, sure na din mo sa inyo answer?
Oo. Dok, okay na isa, Dok?
Yeah!
Dok, okay na isa?
Hindi ko na mo. Dapat ko.
Sakto may tanan, Dok? Dok, sakto may tanan.
Ha?
Sakto may tanan.
Dili, oy, may kulang mo.
Taro, Dok.
Theory dapat. So, number 3, snail for angiospermatosis, earthworm for metastromulus, the rest are arthropods. Isopods and arthropods. Dua. Kanin ko, more plausible, more than one answer. Kung kulang, wrong. Kung sobra. Okay, next. Family, ako ito naman. Physolopteridae. Sino kasama niya ng Physolopteridae? Piteri means wings, man. Anyway, so these are found, there's only one important species. It's Physoloptera brightutialis, and they are found in the stomach of felids. And Phocinus, requiring arthropods, no migratory behavior. This is what it looks like. And I will give you a weird fact. You know what brightutialis means? Ito to. Foreskin. It means foreskin. Tanawa ang so. Tanawa na. Excess cuticle. It looks like an uncircumcised. That's why it's called brightutialis. As weird as it is, that's really how they gave the name. Because it resembled that. So one of brightutialis is their name. Okay, so that excess cuticle actually stretches out and covered the interior. Okay, so ang females, after mating, they actually cover up their vulva with a brown, virgin.
Yes, Dok.
Hello.
Whatever, mag-cover pa niya yung vulva. Okay, they're not common, they're not as common, but when they do infect birds, they infect cats, they do cause ulcerations of the stomach and erosion of the gastric mucosa. It's not a common parasite, pero wala pa siya sa Philippines, pero exotic siya na species that might come out of the insect. Okay, next, number 4 sa daw. Number 4. Okay, a dog developed chronic weight loss before it constantly vomits or regurgitates some of its food for several months. Fecalis is a fresh fecal sample shown to present in sperms. Scientific name. na po sa love bites. Uy, mag-share na po. Sofa.
Wala ba evaluation form?
Wala! After,
O, di, dapat i-check ang fee.
everyone answered. Sir Kalupay, that is correct. Okay, I think 5 next. Wala pa. Okay, 5. Kasi last one. Okay, next, last family. Stomatidae. Stomatidae, sorry. They are found in the stomach of mainly carnivorous mammals. And they don't look like a typical worm, they're rather stout, medyo baga siya, and their anterior end possess this large head bulb filled with spines. Okay. They are heteroxenous. Majority of the species of Nematostoma requires only one IH, which are copepods, so they are found in water. But one species known as Nematostoma spinigerum, this is zoonotic, it has 2 IH. First IH are your copepods yapon, second IH are fishes, reptiles, and amphibians. Mocha. We will Zooming out ako. The topic is good what it looks like. Basta mahuli siya. This is Nematostoma spinigerum. It has a large head bulb filled with spines. So I am just focusing on spinigerum, but the other Nematostoma species, they differ only by size and the number of rows, spines nila. Kanya siya, this is the one that requires 2 IH, so copepods, and your fishes, amphibians, reptiles. If humans are affected, however, their predilection site, basta dogs and cats or non-human, stomach good. Okay na makita ng adult nila. But if a human is infected, they do not like to stay in the stomach. They like to migrate. And they will migrate wherever they want to go, even sa skin, even sa other organs sa tao. Pero sa dogs and cats or canines, felines, stomach again predilection. They can end up in the brain in humans causing neuronatostomiasis. So this is the life cycle. Egg looks like a strong girl, but nahin ako kayo nakalok. Na siya big operculum. And then it hatches into L1, it must be in water. Kay copepods man. In copepods, L1 develops into L2. These are eaten by your second IH, which develops into L2 and L3. If this is a different species of Nematostoma, other Nematostoma species, copepods naman, so up to L3 sa ilahan. But because this is G. spinigerum na siya IH2. If this IH2 is ingested, ano yung pattern? It starts in the stomach. They develop in the stomach until L5, hindi pa siya mature, and it migrates to the liver. Then after it stays in the liver, it migrates back to the stomach. So stomach, liver, stomach. But if it's in humans, stomach, liver, padayon siya sa other parts of the body. It does not always go back to the stomach. So this is Nematostoma emerging from a fistula in the gastric mucosa. Ano siya? Baga, get siya ma-worm. And number 5. Number 5. The global-shaped adult female of Tetrameris americana is specifically found in what part of the avian? Specifically found.
having a